Good evening, everybody. Welcome back to Horse Center, Swiss Army Shawn. And then we have Touchdown TD, Terry Houghton. Terry, how are you tonight?
I'm good, thank you. And yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You had a nice little win today in the 7th race at Mahoning Valley, right? With Lock On. Tell us about that.
I was really glad. He ran a really big race. I think this is like the best track he likes to run at because out of his 11 wins, 10 of them was here at Mahoning. I think his other win was at Thistle Downs.
So he likes Ohio.
Yeah, he likes Mahoning Valley.
Yeah, it seems like it.
I mean, his best races are at this racetrack. Thistle, I don't think he's running as well. I think maybe he's won one race over there.
Mm-hmm. So claiming 7,000 when you win that or a stakes race, does it? I mean, when you win, do you still get that same exact sort of adrenaline rush? Describe when you're coming down the lane, whether it's a claimer or it's a stakes race. How do you feel any different?
All the races feel great. You know, when you get to the wire first. Whether
at what point in the race?
$5,000 claimer or $100,000 stake race.
So I mean, today with the win, at what point did you know I got this one?
Really, I thought turning for home that I was going to run by that other horse pretty easy, and my horse Lock On, he's reluctant to switch to his right lead, but he did that even last time when I rode him also, and I guess that's kind of what he does. He feels like you have a lot more horse, but then when he doesn't switch leads, he just kind of hangs there, and it was like everything I could do to get him by that last horse.
So when a horse doesn't want to switch leads, what kind of tricks do you guys try to do to get him to switch leads? Or sometimes horses just say, I'm not doing it.
Well, yeah, sometimes, I don't know. They don't, sometimes you don't want to force them to switch over to their other lead because when you do, sometimes then they just kind of quit running on you. And as long as they're running, but he really was, and he was kind of like hanging right there. So I thought maybe if I could get him over to his right lead, he would have a little more finish for me. But, so you kind of shift your weight or you pull them over to the one side to throw them onto their other lead. I tried to do that a few times, and I switched sticks and, hit him left-handed thinking that maybe I could get him over to his right lead, but it still didn't work. He stayed on his left lead all the way. Yeah.
He's got a little mule in him.
Yep.
For sure. So I was reading somewhere some time ago, you did an interview. You were talking a little bit about some superstitions that you had, getting dressed or eating the same thing if you won a big race or something along those lines. So I'm going to take it a little different direction. You've had your fair share of accidents, right? I mean, you're known as the Iron Man for a reason. So
yeah,
is there like an anti-superstition? Like I did it this way. I had a bad crash. Ain't no way in hell I'm going to do it like that again.
Yeah, no, unfortunately, it's just, bad racing luck on the injuries and stuff like that. There was never anything that I thought that I did that, was like, I wasn't like superstitious about that, thinking that that's what caused me to have that accident.
Mm-hmm. Shawn, how are you doing tonight?
I'm great. And Terry, I'm glad to be here tonight with you. So you've had over 6,000 wins each year. You get to the 1,000, you get to the 2, you get to the 3. Tell us about each time you reach one of those milestones and how it feels, especially 6,000.
I mean, it feels great. It's always good. I mean, all of them were, leading up to it just before reaching that milestone. It was always a good feeling. Some of them seem like they came quicker than others, but this last one, when I reached my 6,000th win, it seemed like, that month there when I was winning those races, they were all coming pretty rapidly. And I know before my 5,000th win, it was like I got to 4,999, and I was kind of stuck there for a while. It seemed like forever. But my daughters, I remember they came, with their grandma and grandpa and stuff to thinking that I was going to win it over at Mountaineer Park. And it was like 2 days in a row I didn't win no races there, or 3 days or something like that. I was stuck at 499, and I ended up winning it at Thistle Downs. And my daughters and my ex-wife and her parents, or her mom was, their grandma was there. And that night at Mountaineer, when I didn't win it, I told them, I said, look, stay the night here at the hotel, get you guys a room there and stuff. And I said, the horse that I'm on at Thistle the next day was for Shane Speece. and he looked like he was had a really good chance of winning it. So I said, at least stay the night and then go to Thistle tomorrow. And it's the first race. I said, if I don't win that one, then you guys go back home. So I ended up winning it. So then it was all good. They were there. So
put a lot of pressure on that horse.
yeah, I know. I was glad he prevailed. he ran his race. So that was.
Are you
good.
going to ride long enough to reach 7,000?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe. It depends. If I can, get back on a roll. What really hurt me after this win too was like a lot of my mounts that I was winning on and doing well with, and stuff like that. After I got hurt, other riders had won on them, so I didn't expect them to get those mounts back. And things have been, kind of a little bit slow right now. I'm hoping maybe when we get back over to Cleveland, things will start to pick up a little bit more, and I can get going. If not, I've also, I've been thinking about maybe going to somewhere else, another racetrack or something like that, to maybe get a fresh start again.
Which tracks are you thinking about?
Well, I've been offered a couple, a few different places and stuff like that. I thought about even a friend of mine who was my agent there before was at Canterbury. The only thing is that meet is, I think it's only like 69 days or something like that. If it was a longer meet and it wasn't so far away, I really liked it there. I'd like to. I won my 4,000th race there also. So, and I was only there for a short time, but I really liked the people there. It was a good area, good atmosphere, and I really had a lot of good horsemen that were running there and stuff like that too. Would like to have gone back, but I just haven't yet.
You touched on a little bit about your daughters. I did an article on you last year. Got to talk to you and your daughters and the special relationship you guys have. Touch a little bit about that, on how important they've been to your career and your injuries and so forth.
Yeah, my girls are always. I mean, they're two of my biggest fans by far, and they're always. I mean, they're so into the racing and stuff in my career. They always try to for my 6,000th win, my oldest girl Ashley, she wasn't able to come. She was working and going to school at that time, and my youngest daughter Alyssa, she was able to be there, so that was nice. At least one of them, was able to come. But both of them are, definitely support me. And when I got hurt, they took turns being here for me and helping me to be able to go to all my doctor's appointments, my therapy, and everything like that. So this last injury was was one of the worst, and both of them were here for me, so that was a big plus.
Are they both horse racing fans, or are they both just Terry Houghton fans and just love horse racing when you're riding?
Oh yeah, I mean they're more fans of mine, but they do love horse racing altogether. They they just love being around the horses.
Mm-hmm. And of course their dad, right? I mean, the dad is dad, no matter what, forever and forever. So Terry, hey, who says you have a great first name, Terry, but it's great for you, not so great for him. But he says there's some spaces maybe in Golden Gate Fields. But speaking of spaces, you got a couple of big jockeys leaving out in Southern California. There might be some good openings out there at Santa Anita. You ever think about something like that?
I mean, that would be nice. I've never been, so that would be nice. The only thing is I don't know if I would want to go that far away from home. I like being close to my family. So anywhere that's not too far out of the range is good. But
yeah, that's pretty far away, Southern California from So that the Mahoning Valley meet ends in about a month, right? From today.
Yeah, today, 1 month from today. Yeah, April 16th.
So when you say you're going to head up to Cleveland, is that Thistle Downs?
Yeah, Thistle Downs.
And now Hawthorne has got
the year before I got hurt. The year that I won my 6,000th win, we had a really good meet there. So I'm kind of hoping that things will start to pick up a little better than what they are right now, and I can have a good meet there. But if not, then I don't know. I think about maybe going somewhere else different this after that meet's over, like somewhere warmer maybe for the winter time instead of returning back to Mahoning.
Yeah, there's no question. It's probably more fun to be where it's warm in the winter. I would love that myself. So, because I live in Chicago, so I was gonna say you used to ride at Hawthorne. Any
Yeah.
thoughts of coming back this way?
I kind of thought about that also. A really good friend of mine, he's the racing secretary there, Alan Plever. He's mentioned it also that I should think about it, maybe going there because the purses there are supposed to be going up quite a bit,
Mm-hmm.
and so that might not be bad choice
Yeah,
there going.
especially with Arlington closed, right? I mean, there's really no other competition in Illinois. Well, you have FanDuel, but I don't know that FanDuel is a competition to Hawthorne.
Yeah. Yeah, well, that's the only thing too. Like, I don't know how that when Hawthorne's meet ends, then you have to find somewhere else to go. I don't know if maybe them guys would go to Indiana or somewhere like that during the summer.
I've seen a lot of those horses. A lot of those horses I've seen have found their way down to like the fairgrounds and into the Louisiana tracks. When I'm looking at through the past performances at other races, I'm seeing a lot of Arlington Park horses down there. Maybe they just follow John Dooley down there. I don't know. They feel comfortable with the track announcer, right?
Yeah, John's a good guy.
Have you thought about going to Louisiana? I mean, it's a little warmer down there, and there's a ton of tracks down there, so it seems to be a lot of opportunity.
There are a couple of people had mentioned that to me, but I've never been, really to anywhere down there. Then I went to the fairgrounds one time when I had the bug, and I was only there for a really short time because the agent that had talked me into going there after I had gotten there really didn't have any business, so I ended up leaving there, and that's the first winter that I spent in Tampa Bay. Richard DePass was just becoming an agent, and that was his very first year being an agent, and he had taken my book there. Unfortunately, that meet ended short. It was short for me because I ended up getting hurt. I broke my collarbone, so then I ended up taking the rest of the winter off and then going back to Detroit and riding at DRC.
So how important is the jockey agent for you? Can you get on the phone and make phone calls and say, hey, I want to ride for you? Or is that kind of like unwritten, like you can't break that rule type thing?
Yeah, normally the riders don't do that. If I know the guys personally and we're friends or something like that, a trainer or something like that, I might ask them, if they have a horse or something that I'm really interested in. I'd speak with them myself, but normally your agent will do that, and it's important. That's the whole thing. Like at a lot of racetracks and stuff like that, if you get a top agent that has a lot of business, even if the trainers normally don't ride you, and they like certain agents, they'll ride no matter what riders they have. They'll ride those agents. So, and that was like in Michigan when I was there. Frank the Greek, Garofalus, he was a top agent, and I was lucky enough to be able to get him while I was there. And it seemed like all the years, even before I started riding, whoever he had, whatever riders he had him leading rider at in Detroit.
What separates the great agents from the average agent?
And he's asking you this because he's thinking about becoming an agent. So answer the question accordingly.
They work hard and they keep track of all the horses that you're riding and also other horses for trying to hustle the best mounts. And they have to, be able to have a good personality and be able to speak to the trainers and, basically like have good communication with them.
I guess that's a good personality, Shawn. I guess you're going to stick to what
I'm out. When you're done riding, hopefully, 20 years, whatever you want to do. Anything in horse racing that you want to do after the fact of being a jockey?
Like this year when I was hurt, I did go to the stewarding school because they had it online, and so it worked out real well because I was home. I couldn't go anywhere else anyways, and so I taken the classes and stuff like that, and so I've thought about that I've got something now to fall back on. So if I retire from riding, I've kind of thought about other things. I don't know if I'd really want to be an agent or not. I guess I guess I could, because from riding for so many different horsemen over the years and everything like that, you do build up a relationship with them. And, like a good friend of mine, Bobby Quinones, Israel Luis Quinones, he's an agent now, and he was leading rider in Mountaineer before he got hurt and stuff. And he's got like a lot of good connections from all the years of his riding, and for, you know, people that he rode for. They might not even know the riders that he has, but just by knowing him, they're going to ride his riders.
So Robert Bryan wants to know, this is a painful question. So he says, how many bones have you broken?
Oh my gosh. Well, like this last injury was probably one of my worst, because it was all mostly facial injuries. I've broken almost every bone in my face in this last injury, and I got like 4 plates and pins and all kinds of stuff going on in there around my eye sockets and around my cheekbones, and my upper gum. All this was crushed, and I got like wiring and plates up in here and all around my face. But I also had which ended up healing well, was I fractured my left tibia also, and tore the MCL in my knee.
Tough day at the office for sure, right?
That was, yeah.
Do you find from all the injuries, do you have like arthritis or anything like that? Or do you do a lot of therapy, like physical therapy? How do you just not have, I have aches and pains from playing sports when I was younger, and I had never fall off a horse or got stepped on or had other ones run over me. And I feel them to this day. So I have to imagine that you feel them to this day too.
Yeah, I know. And like a lot of people say that too, like especially like in the wintertime and stuff like that, the bones that they have broken and stuff, they have a lot of pains and stuff like that. And fortunately, I really don't. I mean, I feel like where the plates and I got 2 rods and 6 screws in my back, I feel them, but they don't really hurt. But I can always feel them in my back and in my shoulder, and my right collarbone. I shattered it, and it's got plates and pins. I think there's like 17 of them in there, but they don't really bother me. My right collarbone, after they did the surgery, was like probably the best. I broke my left one twice also, but never had surgery on it, and that one had bothered me more than the right one.
So, like, when you fly, do you like mess with the TSA agents?
Yeah, one time, this is no lie, after I broke my back, I went there, and they put me in this thing where you stand there and this thing goes around you and everything like that. And I had like a sweatshirt on and stuff like that. And the guy's asking me, what do you have underneath your sweatshirt? I'm like, me? I don't have anything. Mm-hmm. He's like, no, you got something in your bag. And I was like, well, and I explained to him, and I had to lift my shirt up to show him the scar down the center of my back. I got, I told him I got 2 rods and like 6 screws in my back. The thing just kept going up, and he was thinking like I had was hiding something under my shirt.
Is that like the only time that ever happened to you, or do you
no,
have like a card? Because my grandmother used to have like metal knees from getting her knees replaced, so she had a card. So when she went through, she'd show them the card, and they would beep, and then they'd wave her knees and go, "Okay, go on through, Granny." You don't have anything like that?
Well, when the first time that had happened to me is I got plates and screws in my left ankle, and I was in the airport in Muskegon, Michigan. And I'd flown in there, and that's what they told me, that I needed to get a thing from the doctor saying that I had plates, because I had to take my shoe and my sock off to show him my scar and everything like that, because the thing, his metal detector was going off when he was scanning my body, my leg and stuff. And so he was like, oh, you're supposed to get something from the doctor, which I've never heard that, but he seemed to think so.
It's kind of like some of the things you don't think about, right? When the accident happens, like, we're going to go to the airport, and the next thing you know, you got 40 police surrounding you, thinking you got something in your back. That's kind of pretty peculiar anyway. So when you're not horse racing, hanging out with your daughters, what are you doing for fun?
Oh, well, I don't know. We like during the summertime, we like to go to the amusement parks and the zoo and stuff like that.
Sounds like fun. Shawn, any final thoughts before we let Terry get back to his night?
Well, we'll put the pressure on Terry here. Terry, we're a fan of you. You're a fan of us. So tell us, what has been your favorite show so far with the guest?
Oh, me watching it?
Yeah.
You guys had some. I mean, all of them have been really good. I know you guys real soon are going to have a real good friend of mine on there too, Willie Martinez. Yep. And I can't wait to watch that one. He's a good guy, and you guys will really like him. I mean, he's got a lot of good. I mean, he's rode in it with the best riders in the country, and has had a real successful career. Another one you guys need to have on here is my cousin Tyler Gaffleone.
We've been trying to get a hold of him.
Yeah, I can't get a hold of him.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't know
And it
was
seems
your
like
cousin,
anytime I bet on him, I lose, and every time I don't bet on him, he wins. He's turning into that jockey for me.
I'll have to
Yeah,
say
so
something.
yeah, if you can hook us up with
I'll
him, yeah,
mention
we'd have
it.
him on for sure.
Yeah, no, he'd be great too. He's a good young man and a great rider. He's doing real well.
Charles
Yeah, well,
Baja says that Churchill bought Colonial Downs in February, added more dates to this meet for the summer. Great turf there. Maybe you could take your game to Colonial Downs.
I saw that too, and the money's going to be really good there also. I went there only one time to ride a stake one time, but unfortunately I didn't do any good. It was for a trainer at Mountaineer Park, Eric Reed, and he had what is that? What state is that?
Yeah, it's in Virginia, no? Is it
Virginia,
Colonial
yeah.
Downs?
He's Virginia bred or something, which was unreal.
Mhm.
I didn't even know they had Virginia breds until that horse went over there running that stake. So
And it didn't fire for you, huh?
no, and she ran so good over at Mountaineer, and when she ran over there, she just didn't fire.
It's because the West Virginia, everybody knows West Virginia is better than Virginia.
Yeah, right.
At least that's the way the people in the Mountaineer state feel versus
Right.
the Cavalier state. Sean, you're going to say something, and then like I always do, I interrupted you, so I'm sorry.
Oh no, I was going to bring up about Willie Martinez. His wife is our #1 fan right now. She's over the moon about the show and really supportive. So yeah, we can't wait till Willie's on too.
Yeah, Jamie's posted some good things. I've seen him on Facebook too. She's really pushing you guys.
No, that we appreciate that for sure. And we certainly appreciate you coming on and, all the hard work that you got to put in to get back on. I mean, it's you getting your face broke, your shoulder broke, and everything else broke. Can't be easy work to get back on. So it's obviously something you love to do. Otherwise, there's no way you can endure that type of comeback over and over and over again. So we wish you nothing but luck. Want to make sure we see more ones when I look up the past performances.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. I really appreciate it, guys.
Thank you, Terry. Have a great evening.
All right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hey, I'm the big head again. That's because I got the nice 11 hat on.
Yeah, you got
Sean,
the 11 hat, so you're all right.
Yes.
Doesn't look as big of a head with the hat. Yeah.
No, the head's a little bit smaller because of the hat. That's for sure. And I got the 4 number yellow 4, so I'm looking forward to wearing that tomorrow. If you want to get your horse racing today stuff, all you got to do, Sean, stand up and show them how that beautiful logo look. I mean,
and this is the sweatshirt that they've been asking, or the hoodie they've been asking for too. So got the #1.
Have you ever seen Sean look so good? The #1 on the back. Yeah, head to the track, and everybody and their brother is going to know what you got on there. The regular folks walking their dogs on the street, that's another story. They may not, but the folks who are at the track will definitely know what that is. And again, you can get that at horseracingtoday.net. Just hit on the HRT gear. It'll take you to this page. Click out, get what you like. You'll look good, and you'll be at the track at the same time. Sean, speaking of looking good and being at the track, you've been working on something that I think is pretty cool. And if you haven't had a chance to check this out yet, you want to go to horseracingtoday.net, and you want to pull up Tyler Connor's notebook. Every day before Tyler gets his mounts, he's kind enough, and we wholeheartedly appreciate this. He gives us his insights on what he's expecting to do with those horses in those races. And you're getting it directly from the jockey's iPhone. I think that's where it's coming from, the iPhone. And then, so it gives you an insight that you're not going to get in the past performances.
Yeah, I mean, he'll tell you, okay, I've never been on this horse, but this is what I know about this horse, or this horse really responds to me. All the stuff that you try to get in the PPs without knowing that you don't necessarily know. You don't know if he's working out this horse, but you don't see it on the PPs or not. He'll put that kind of stuff in, and he'll put kind of his game plan on if he wants to be close to the pace or not. Because jockeys do have to be good handicappers. They look at the form too, and they got to know where they're going to be in the race. So he had a riding triple Friday too. So if you watched his notes, you could have cashed in some on Friday. So
yeah, because a couple of them he had mentioned that he thought they had a good shot and how he thought he was going to win, and it kind of played out that way, right? So
yeah, and he had 3 wins in 2 seconds. There was only one race I think he finished 4th or 5th, but every other race he was in the exacta. So yeah, it's we appreciate him doing it. It's fun. It adds insight. Darius Thorpe is also doing that. We appreciate that. And if anybody else wants to do it, just reach out to us.
Yes, reach out to Sean directly. You can DM him on Twitter. You can see the address right down there on the scroll bar. It is Horse Race, the number 2 day. And then that is on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. We appreciate that. can't tell us how the horse is feeling on race day, can you? Well, maybe we can start, if we start to get enough people involved, maybe we can get on the track stuff, because people have their phones everywhere nowadays. You see NFL players in the locker room with them, right? So that, you never know. The more we bring, the more we'll be able to get. So if you're a jockey and you want to add to this, hey, we would greatly appreciate it, no matter what track you're running at, unquestionably.
Yeah, I mean, pretty much the jockeys have to have this information anyway. It's just a matter of sitting down and typing it out, or putting it on your phone for 10 or 15 minutes and then sending it over. So
for sure. So let's talk a little bit about news, Shawn. The rich get richer, right?
That's always the case, right?
Well, that's what they say, right? Well, inflation, they get richer because they own everything, right? Whereas the rest of us that live from day to day, we get poorer because we have to pay more. But Churchill Downs 2022 schedule includes the Arlington Million. It's unfortunate that they couldn't get that one over there at Houghton by my neck of the woods. But what do you think about the Arlington Million moving from suburban Chicago to Louisville?
Yeah, I just saw this, and there's a lot of people not liking this, and I kind of agree with them. This is kind of bad taste. You shut the track down, and then you want to run the Arlington Million at this track. I don't like it. We'll see how bettors respond to this one.
Well, it's going to be a big money day. They're going to bet no matter what, right? Because you're going to have a big pool day. And,
but people are talking now. Yeah. No, I'm not going to bet that day and stuff like that. We'll see come betting day if you're actually going to stick to your guns or not. I mean, if you want to do it, I mean, I think that would be a good message sent to not. But, I feel like it is kind of distasteful doing it.
Nice job today to pick 6 at Parks. You got it. You get that one today? Or we missed out on the one horse. I did on the horse on number 7 in the first leg of the pick 4, which kind of bummed me out. Should not have missed that though, huh? It should have stayed in Illinois, Terry says. Yeah, I mean, the only track they could really run it at would be at, they can run it at FanDuel. I've never been to FanDuel. I don't know that facility could handle a track like that, right? Charles says they should move it to Colonial Downs. Either that or, another race place that it might have made sense to put it is at Kentucky Downs, right? Because they have a lot of those grass races. So that might not have been a bad place to put that race.
The problem is when you move something like the Arlington Millions to a different track, it's not the same feel anyway. That should be at Arlington Park. So I don't even know you should be running it. Make another name, do another race. I feel like
I agree with TD. It should have just went right down to Hawthorne. They're going to upgrade. Maybe they're going to upgrade that track, and it's supposed to be a first world facility in Stickney, Illinois, which I don't know how many other and there's nothing wrong with Stickney, Illinois. It's just a very industrial part of outside of Chicago. So it's, having a first-class facility there kind of is going to, it'll be like that old Sesame Street. One thing belongs and the other things don't, or something like that. Rich plays have helped me the last 2 days. Good guy, handicapper. Well, we appreciate that, Jerry.
Hey, look, Rich's head got big again.
Did it?
No, I'm saying because he's feeding.
I know, right? Shawn. I get it. I'm not slow. So speaking of which, Saratoga is putting the S into, the dollar sign is putting the S into Saratoga with boosted purses. So as we talked about with the Churchill Downs taking the Arlington Million, and once again, we keep hearing about how horse racing is suffering, but the top end continues to not suffer. It continues to expand the purse.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's really conflicting when you see this. It can't be hurting that bad if you're getting boosted purses all over the place. So, or you could look at it, I guess, the opposite. They're fighting over the limited horses that they have. So to get full fields, they got to throw a little bit more money at it. You kind of got to decipher which way you want to take it.
So maybe a little consolidation would make sense then, instead of, maybe instead of adding more tracks, maybe they should consolidate a little bit. I don't know. And, maybe coordinate with one another. And we talked about how many times 2 tracks are running and you're at you're on your OTB account, TVG, Twin Spires, Bet Us, whatever it is you're using. And you see that multiple races are going off at the same time. Maybe if they consolidate it a little bit, we can get little bigger fields and so forth.
That part makes no sense, especially on big race days when they do that. They can clearly see what's going on and they could adjust that pretty easily. That's another thing. I mean, you and Tom cover Australia a lot. They do really good with that. they go off, and if something
Four
happens in the one,
tracks. I mean, how hard can it be? I think.
But
Well, no, they got like
they
7.
They wait. They're minutes apart. One goes off, and then the other starts loading and stuff. And if they have a delay, they either wait or they go, okay, this race is going to go now, and the other one will wait. I really love that part of Australia, and that's something that we should definitely be trying to do.
Trying to coordinate a little bit the schedules a little bit. Well, we talked about consolidating a little bit, right? Viva Mexico! Yeah, nice for you to join us, Abe Hernandez. We appreciate that. What part of Mexico are you in, my man? Hopefully, all is good for you by the seashore. I hope, where it's nice and warm. Down in Georgia, we talked about expanding and consolidating. Well, they wanted to expand. So if you live in Georgia and you want to have horse racing, the day is not done. Get on the phone, call your representative, and let them know, because they can still vote on it, I guess, before the night is over, to put the bill in, not necessarily approve it in the House or the Senate, but to at least get the general public to have a referendum on it. So if you live in Georgia, you want to have horse racing available to you, pari-mutuel betting, get on the phone, call your reps, and let them know that they got to get off their beeps and vote for this, to let the voters decide, not politicians. What do you think, Shawn? Should we call and pretend we're from Georgia?
If we could, we would. I think, too, even if you're not really a horse racing fan or a horse bettor, but you're kind of just whatever, I mean, I think it's a good thing to add. So give them a call and add it. I mean, it's not hurting. So,
yeah, I know, too, in the beginning of the year, though, Charles, I remember Aqueduct lost a couple of days because of some track improvements, right? So they're probably just kind of balancing that back out on the back end, I would think, because in the beginning of the year, they were running those extra races at Belmont, right before the Belmont. So they extended Belmont as they're getting ready to reopen up Aqueduct. People are spoiled. Back in my day, tracks didn't want you to see another track. Yeah, well, that's probably.
Yeah, you got to change with the times, though. And I mean, we talk about that, too. Horse racing has to change with the times. So,
well, you have to expand the betting public out so that way you can get. But I think that one of the things they got to do is they got to stop. They got to. Like, I forget who is that said that horse racing's taking care of the jockeys. They've tried to take care of the horses. They try to take care of the facilities. They've tried to take care of everything that they can except the bettor. Our turn. If you made the game more attractive to bettors so that it's not competing solely with, because I mean, in football, I mean, you can't get a 17-1 in football. And if you do, you're going to get beat. I mean, let's just be honest. Every single day you get 17-1s. I mean, you can market it like that. And as long as the takeouts weren't killing people, it would be all right, right?
Yeah, and we also talk, and this is part of this show too, is just the access to everybody too. I feel like horse racing still has to do a better job at that too. Mm-hmm. I didn't even know how accessible they are. I mean, I go to the track. I don't try to bug the jockeys or nothing. I'm definitely not heckling them like some people do. And that's usually the support the jockeys get, is they get heckled more than they get,
I'm sure. I mean,
I'd like to meet you.
I'm sure TD would probably tell us, though, that when he wins, and I would guess that it's probably the people who had you on the ticket, you're their best friend. Hey, you did a great job. Thanks, TD. I cashed, right? Hey, can you get me a drink afterwards? No. I lost 10 times, but I would bet you guess that the folks who do win say nice things, and the folks who probably didn't win, maybe every now and then they have a crossword.
Oh, of course. And, Terry's one of the more popular jockeys. So I was thinking that too, when he said about it being a steward. He's going to go from one of the popular jockeys to there's no favorite steward. No better likes a steward pretty much. So be a whole different experience.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's it for the news today, Terry, Shawn. Terry and I will be back tomorrow at noon. We'll be covering Gulfstream Park down in South Florida. That should be a good time. I'm not quite sure what Tom and I are going to do on Friday for Foreign Friday. I know that Shelton, whatever, is running right now. I don't know if they're running on Saturday. So maybe Tom and I can cover some of that stuff on Thursday for Friday. I don't know. We'll talk to Tom about that. We do have some stuff coming up potentially where we will have some regularly featured international races in the UK and such. Australia. We'll have some regular picks. We'll keep you up to date on that and some content on the website, right? And then two of my favorite jockeys, TD and Marshall Mendez. Well, thank you, Sarah. By the time we pay for parking, racing, family program, I always thought all that stuff should be free getting into the track. If you want to sit like in the nice section, so to speak, right, then I can understand that if you want a room or like a little, like little cubicle to sit down on your own, that sort of thing. But and then Terry and I will also, for Jared, we're going to be doing, because Jared's smoking hot at the fairgrounds, so he'll share his picks with us as well on Thursday for fairgrounds. I'm not quite sure. What are we going to be doing tomorrow night, Shawn? Who's our guest tomorrow?
We have Devin Magoon. I think
so. That's like the fifth different way you've pronounced his name.
I thought it was Magoon. I'm pretty sure because the N is silent, as Riley said. So we're now find out what tomorrow night exactly. But he rides at Evangeline, Delta, Louisiana tracks, sometimes fairgrounds. A young rider, up and coming, and he's had his injuries to deal with too. Real scary one, I believe it was last year.
I think horse racing is like motorcycle driving, right? Every motorcycle rider, every motorcyclist will tell you that at some point you're going to put the bike down, right? So I think horse racing is very similar to that. At some point, you're going to go down. It's just a matter of what happens when it's done, right? Thank you. Hey, we appreciate these kind words, William.
Yeah, absolutely. The only thing I'd say, and the reason I comment on Terry Houghton and Devin is that they had two that they had ones they almost couldn't walk, could have died. Like they were real scary at the time, and they had a lot to overcome to be where they are today.
To get back where they are, that's why they must really love what they do, because the process of coming over those really devastating injuries, that's just as much mental. I think it's probably more mental, and I would imagine that Mike says it's Mag-a-done. So I'd imagine Terry would tell us too that it's probably more mental to get over those injuries than it is physical, and not in the sense that you're afraid to get hurt again. It's just the grind from day to day to day to day to rehab to get yourself back to as close as you can get to be 100%, right?
Well, yeah, and it's also it is getting hurt again, because you always, even when you play sports, or if you're in a car and you're in a car, you drive every day, you don't think about it. You get in a car accident, that's all you're thinking about is, it could have been you, but it wasn't. Now you've experienced it, and now you know how scary it can be. So you really think about it, and then you got to get to a point to where you've raced enough races where you haven't had the injuries to where you're kind of over it and you're in that zone again where it can happen to you, but it's out of your mind.
Yeah, I think that most of those guys, when those gates are open, they're in a zone. They're not thinking about anything that has happened before. They're just in that moment. And maybe when they cross the wire and you come out of that bubble, that competitive bubble, maybe at that point it re-registers. I want to thank Philip Perkins, of course, Terry T.D. Houghton for joining us, but also giving us a thumbs up on Facebook. We appreciate that, Terry. Sarah Buttigieg, we appreciate that too. Any relation to Pete? We have Hombre Sencillo. Thank you, Hombre Sencillo. Hombre, funny story. When I was putting together my Yahoo email address a very, very long time ago, when I was a much younger man, much better looking than I am today, as the song goes, or something like that. I put in El Hombre. I wanted to put in El, like the big guy, so El Hombre, right? I put in El Hombre. So hombre means guy, hombre means hungry. So instead of putting in the big guy, I put in the big hungry, which that fits nowadays. Mike Watkins, thank you. Beverly Taylor, thank you. Robert Bryan, thank you. If you like what you saw, please subscribe if you haven't already on Horse Racing Today TV, Horse Racing Radar TV. You see the stuff down there for the other social sites. Do that as well. Thank you for telling your friends about us. We appreciate that. And then any final words before we get out of here, Shawn?
Thursday for the Players Edge, when it's all four of us, we will have ex-jockey, ex-trainer, now Pablo Morales' jockey agent, Paula Bacon. So she has a lot of experience in here. So that should be a great show. And we'll have a Q&A too, I believe.
I was working on that today. So that I'll
get
the Q&A out to her tomorrow. Right. So she's a jockey's
she has a lot of
agent,
experience.
Right?
She's a jockey's agent, but she used to be a jockey. She used to be a trainer as well. So she's done a lot of different things.
She's done it all. All right, Shawn. So that wraps it up. We've taken you from the morning when Terry and I did our picks to Terry Houghton and our news. That's wire to wire for Tuesday, Shawn. Everybody have a fantastic night. Terry and I'll see you tomorrow. Until then, have a great night.